are about a week away from Adams County swearing in a new judge. That will fill a vacancy left by the removal of Robert Adrian this past February.
Chris Pratt will leave the Adams County Public Defender's Office after nearly a decade there to take on the new role. WGEM's Dylan Smith was at the courthouse today. So Dylan, what will that office be like after this week?
Pratt believes judges will move quickly to name his replacement as chief public defender. It's been quite a whirlwind for Pratt in the last year or so, after briefly running for Hancock County State's attorney to being named to his current position and now to joining the bench. But his office isn't the only one in the courthouse that will see a transition.
Through a new grandchild, our first grandchild in there in the same time back in March. So it certainly has been a hectic year, but mostly positive changes.
Positive change is how Adams County Chief Public Defender Chris Pratt sees his current office as he prepares to embark on a new journey. Just 6 months ago, the Adams County Public Defender's Office was 3 heads short, and for that same reason last fall, they didn't take on any new cases.
We had 4 out of 7 full-time attorneys, which put a tremendous strain on those remaining, certainly. And then we were down to 1 administrative staff.
Now they're only 1 head short. Pratt believes wage adjustments approved by the Adams County Board in February helped the cause.
The car that belongs to the keys.
But Pratt isn't the only attorney in the Adams County Courthouse starting something new. Lead trial attorney for the state's attorney's office, Josh Jones, starts as an associate judge next month. So where does that leave the office he's leaving?
She oftentimes in the big trials sat next to Josh.
State's attorney Gary Farha referring to assistant state's attorney Laura Keck, who tried several cases with Jones in the last year, most notably the Timothy Bleefnick case. Farha says she'll be the one to fill Jones's shoes as lead trial attorney.
Josh did a lot of the talking, but Laura did a lot of the behind-the-scenes work. She's extremely passionate. The officers adore her.
And with Farha preparing to enter retirement, his first assistant, Todd Eiler, is uncontested in taking over the reins in November. Farha says 2 attorneys will need to be hired to be at full strength, and they're looking for experience. Farha says Jones will start in traffic court and also have a criminal docket once a week in Schuyler County. Pratt says what he looks forward most to as a judge is the simple concept of taking on a new challenge. He'll start primarily on the family law docket. Daniel?
All right, thank you, Dylan. Pratt is a Quincy native. He started his career straight out of law school at the local firm in Quincy.